video games, the power of video games nowadays, especially with the internet. We go from ads about, here's a nostalgia trip for you. Freaking, commercials about you wouldn't download a car, so why would you download a movie? To, hey, dude, where do you live? X City. Cool, I'm in Y City. We should meet up.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, Vietnam.
Hello,
this poor
everybody.
chick who has a in her face. That is not sexual innuendo. That is literal. And I'm here to let you know that if you do drugs, you not only will get to fight a masked man in a trench coat, but you will be live on TV.
So, as you guys can tell, today is episode 6 of our podcast, and our special wonderful guest today is the ever eccentric Polarbear. So, Polarbear, I don't know where to start because you've been in the
Dante,
unit for how long?
Well, Dante, I'm sorry, but for the podcast and for the obvious joke, I know exactly where to start. Anyhow, proceed with your question. I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, you're fine, buddy. So, you've been in this unit for not too terribly long, but you're not new to Starsim, I guess. Yeah.
Oh no. I have been here since September 11th is when I joined the 91st. And collectively I've spent over 2 years in Gark.
Okay. And where'd you spend that time prior to?
Well, I spent that time in the 212th, and for those of you who don't know me, I have started in the 212th. I put in about a year and a half, or just, I'd say probably just under, and I made it to CSP, which is the Clone Specialist rank, because I thought about going into leadership at one point, and due to communication errors and lack of communication from other people when trying to make a decision, I decided that I was going to go into the detachment role. So I've spent many months loving the detachment life. I've done everything from artillery to combat engineer to fortifying to raining down just absolute hatred with pretty much everything that normal infantry does not get their hands on. And now I'm here, and I expect to do the same thing, but with more gadgets.
Absolutely. I mean, I know that because I was in the 101st, they have a lot of those similar things as far as like detachments go, but I feel like they do things a little differently, especially in the 212th. Like, I don't think we have engineers like they do. Because don't they have, like, engineers that, like, literally build up defenses and stuff like that?
They do. The Mystic Detachment in the 212th was actually where I spent the last of my days. And I arguably would justify that those were some of the best times I had just because the people in there. Not to say I'd had a negative experience with any of the other detachments or spots that I've been in, because I absolutely loved being a billet in those positions. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, I wouldn't have joined them. But with Mystic, it was something kind of special. It was a fairly small detachment with I'd say less than a dozen people, somewhere around half a dozen people to my knowledge. And they built up a lot of like fortifications. So we would build FOBs, we would build on the fly fortifications such as barriers, walls, vehicle repairs. Like we would handle actually like repairing a down let. We would handle fixing up the 212th's armor division, which was Phantom? Question mark. I believe it's Phantom. But it was mainly on a requested basis. So, we were kind of there. Like we're there to assist the main infantry with fortification, just kind of build the defense when there is none. which I believe is a underused aspect of the playstyle, and it's kind of freeing because it's an interesting perspective that um, not many detachments in Gark I've come to know get to experience. I've spent a lot of time in Gark servers while I was in the 212th, just kind of seeing how everybody plays, what everybody does. And so far, like I've seen a lot of similarities, a lot of differences, and I can see where some of us could, kind of learn and benefit from others' perspectives and play styles. So, like the 501st and the 91st, we're very aggressive, or at least we try to be. Um, and that's my preferred play style because I don't like to, sit around and, wait. Which, don't get me wrong, there's reasons for doing that, such as, like the Zeus doesn't have enough set up, or they're running behind schedule, or, that's speaking from experience, mind you. That's not dogging on anybody. Um, and then there was, like we're trying to get a plan together, or the leadership's trying to get the plan together. So we're just trying to have everybody sit still while we formulate something, so we're not going in half cocked and
Right.
get, you know, everybody just in a bad time because everybody's dying and we don't know what anything's going on or how everything's working. Just kind of stuff like that.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I think that a lot of I feel like I've said that before too. I feel like Garg, just as a whole, I mean they do. I mean coming up to like platoon medic and stuff like that, and like working that role a little bit more, I've come to realize that like it is nice because I feel like a lot of Gark, especially for medical, it might be different for a lot of things. But medical, they communicate so much. I mean, like we have our own like little area that like most medical, at least the higher end medical guys, communicate about, and all they do sometimes is just talk about like how you can improve A through Z or just do things, and I appreciate that because I feel like that's what Gark's all about.
oh, absolutely. Just kind of seeing what all we can really stand to perfect, or just overall do better. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, it's really fun, but like just to kind of do the random shenanigans that I'm sure I'm very well known for. But I like to have fun.
Hmm.
But it's its own reward when you can do the job really, really well. Either for your own records or for bragging rights, if that's your thing. Um, but yeah, it's just watching like the 501st's medics, watching the 101st's engineers, watching the 327th and the 91st's aerial air divisions. It's really something just
To behold, yeah.
yeah, it's just really something to watch, and you're like, wow, each unit has their own specialty. We all have, like these awesome people um, running it, and like the people who have been in there for a really long time, you can see where they flourish and what they have to contribute. It's really something special.
Absolutely. And speaking of a lot of that type of stuff, did you play yesterday?
I did.
Yeah, so for everybody that doesn't know, in the prior podcast we mentioned second platoon being on Sunday. Now it got moved to Friday. When is the start time for Friday now? Is it 6
So
or
I
7?
believe it is. I believe it is 6. Matter of fact, out of curiosity, I'm going to double check myself
Yeah,
just so I'm
do the
not
same.
handing out wrong
Mhm.
experience, or not wrong experience, wrong
Yeah.
information. Which should be in the minor or major announcements channel of
Uh,
our Discord. I believe it's in
I'm
major.
sure it would be a bigger announcement. Yeah.
Yes. So as per Chard, the official timing for the second platoon is now set in stone for 6 p.m. EST on Friday, due to the better outcome on numbers.
I heard
Um,
I heard a lot of people showed up.
Yeah, so I heard somebody off the fly, don't know who exactly, because I'm still, I haven't spent
Learning
enough time in the
voices.
91st to identify names,
Mm-hmm.
but, or identify voices, I should say.
Yeah.
But somebody did say that, wow, we actually had, twice the turnout, and that kind of shocked me for a minute because I thought, you guys had some pretty decent numbers in second platoon as it is, considering like your guys' billets. But I guess since the 91st is, correct me if I'm wrong, mostly European.
It's not well. It's not mostly, but second platoon has a lot of Europeans. Because they essentially on Sunday it's their Monday.
Ah,
That's I think
gotcha.
one of the biggest reasons. So they moved it to Friday. So if even if it is, um, a day ahead, that's their Saturday.
Right.
You know what I mean? So like Volks, for instance, our platoon sergeant is Australian, so he's playing Sunday. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So like the days for a lot of people got moved back one. So I would only like I talked with Chart about this too because I was curious. And yeah, I mean it just seems like a lot of people, especially if they are European, because I think as a whole the 91st is mostly American, but we do have like
Oh.
cells of like European, like 1-1 for instance. I think used to have a lot of Europeans. You know what I mean? Ranite,
Yeah.
our like ARF guys used to be a lot. You're European except for like one guy. So like you know what I mean you have these like groups, but
Yeah.
um, I mean yeah, if it works, dude, it works. I can't really argue if it works. I mean I'm really happy. I'm really
Oh yeah.
happy Friday turned out really well.
I mean, you can't really lie with the projected, well, not the projected numbers, but the actual outcome
Yeah,
numbers. I mean, if we can fill out a server, man, that's a good day. Um,
absolutely,
whether
absolutely.
it's a main op or a skirmish, that's just that's a damn good day. Just to see everybody on and active and having fun.
Well, yeah. Speaking of like skirmishes and stuff as well, we can kind of go into what you do. And so you mentioned to me you're in a C shop and you Zeus things. Can you
Yes,
kind of
I am
like
in
go
C
into
two.
that a little bit?
Yeah, so I don't know a whole lot of the intricacies. Um, I'm not really the best example of knowledge for a lot of the ins and outs of technical jargon and
Right.
whatnot. I'm more of the kind of do it and figure out what works and then go from there kind of guy. So, I Zeus a lot. I was a Zeus for a very long time. I think around the time I first started in the 212th, and I fell in love with it.
I think I've
So,
went to at least one of your ops. I'm sure in the
oh
time.
yeah, I'm sure because like I've seen you around before.
Yeah.
That's how we've met was in the debrief of one of my skirmishes.
Yeah.
Which if I remember right, that one that skirmish in particular was fairly difficult. That was like one of my, I think that was one of my search and seizure ones, um, which you guys had to go through several areas to find a key individual. Um, and you keep hitting roadblocks and whatnot. But as far as Zeusing goes, I mean, anybody can really do it if they have the thought for a mission. I highly encourage everybody to at least try it, because it's a very different feel. What I feel like is not talked about enough is that with Zeusing, it is a very different ball game. Give me just a second. There we go. Playing a game while I'm doing the podcast, but um, it's a very different feel when you're trying to do something in like the editor and you're having to monitor and handle very hands-on battles between both sides between AI than it is compared to managing the AI placements and assets used when giving players something to do for the day. Because you always have to worry about, is everybody having fun? Is this too much? Is this too little? it's a lot of questions you have to ask yourself throughout the entire time, not just the planning phase. And something that I'm still getting used to with the 91st is you guys do what is it? Morale checks, which I was very foreign to because in the 212th, it was, hey, we got an op. If you can make it, cool. If you can't, then you can't. Um, and, we've never really heard of a morale check until I joined these guys. And I'm like, huh. So what I found out uh, through my own experience and through my own little, things that I do, um, is give me a second. Is I honestly forgot where I was going, but
it's like, well, you're
really
like speaking on the difference of like morale checks and yeah. Well, that's not that strange because so I used to Zeus for like a milsim unit, like a real time unit, and it was only like maybe 40 guys, but like it was just nice. It's a lot of fun because you really are like building your own mission. You're building your own map. You know what I mean? Your own like story. Yeah. You're telling your story, and I really like that kind of aspect of it, especially because Jesus Christ Arma has 1.5 billion assets that you can use.
And that's just with, the official assets too.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, dude, we have so many creators in and outside of Gark as well. I don't know any names, unfortunately, so I can't pay the respects that is due. But I believe we actually have people in the C shop who've helped out with 3AS assets. I think there were people in Gark from, I think, multiple units who were helping out with like the Arcus assets that the 212th use. Just to name a few, like we have some audio mods, some textures, and stuff like that the 101st and the 501st and the 91st, I believe, have worked on too that are just absolutely tits up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's working in this situation like this, you definitely can see where I think everybody kind of works together, but I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I think I've stayed. I think that's one of the biggest reasons why I actually like this community is because it's like I've jumped around in army units before, like just like, random hodgepodge, like, guys that aren't really like connected to anything but the game they play, and then all of a sudden you get into like Gark and I'm like, wait, you guys like talk to each other? I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like, oh my god, you guys actually communicate with one another and
like,
build assets to expand the community?
Right,
like,
as like a whole, dude. Yeah. I mean, it's fucking awesome. I really appreciate it. You know what? Speaking of that, though, too, there is a, like, what's the word? It's like, it's not really a joint up. It's kind of like a community thing. Let me go double check it, because they just posted about it. It's the 21st Nova Corps. But they're not in Gark, so I don't really know, like, I don't really know the ins and outs of that. That's a kind of a interesting topic, because let me see here, because I feel like we've done this before with other units, but, like, I don't get it, I guess, maybe. I mean, granted, it's not really a question for you. Well, we did it with the
85th Blitz, where, they're not quite part of Gark, but we want to either give them a shot or see what they're about, and then possibly get them into Gark. But it's more of just like expanding, or at least in my opinion, it's more about just expanding the people that we play with, which I believe can, expand Gark for what it is, which is just a lot of people together who really like Star Wars, really like Arma, and might as well, like, hey, let's put these things together and go from there.
Yeah, and kind of come out on top. No, I mean, dude. Well, like, speaking of the 85th, they came off probation, I'm pretty sure.
They did, actually.
They did, so they're full-fledged, yeah.
They are now, they're an extension of Gark now, and they...
Congrats.
Their probationary period ended, I believe, earlier this month, late last month. So now we get to see some more hyper aggressive people, play styles, not people, but really interested in seeing more. Really interested in seeing more what they have to offer. Uh, Primarily with their detachments, their weaponry, their assets, because that's a big part of why I joined Gark, other than just the um, huge love for Star Wars that I have. You know, I might not be like an encyclopedia of knowledge and all the different planets and Jedi orders prior to Clone Wars, but I just really love Star Wars. I really love Arma for what it is, as janky piece of shit as it can be at times. But,
yeah, dude, Arma.
um,
Arma's crazy all the time.
Oh my goodness! When you're just sitting there talking on the comms, and all of a sudden you just take a freaking air to ground missile that was meant for a tank, to the face, and then you're wondering why in the hell you're dead, and then you just see it in a media channel later, going, "Hey, so here's what happened."
Yeah, or like when you get in a vehicle and all of a sudden it decides that it wants to be an airplane.
Oh, for sure. There was an instance. Oh, I got to tell you this. I got to tell this. So there was an instance. There is a clip of this. It is on YouTube, I believe. If you ask, if he's still part of the 212th, if you go and talk to, I want to say Spacer. He should be a VCT, CSP, probably CLC at this point. But Spacer's a lovable dude. I love him to death. He was, I believe, at that op and was making clips and stuff at the time for the media channel, and we had to babysit a dictator who was trying to remember. He was funding our war effort with his own money that he quote unquote liberated from taxes from his local populace.
Liberated, yes.
And because he is right, and because he is an asset to the Republic, as they put it, we have to guard him and help him out with some duties because he requested a detachment of the 212th to come on down and make sure he doesn't get shot by some of the angry protesters, as he liked to call them.
Right.
And realize they're just, honest tax-paying people, and we're helping out a dictator. But we got, after a few ambushes here and there through a couple minefields, we were using not quite half tracks, not quite high grabs, but we had, at least I don't think they were high grabs. We had his own personal fleet of vehicles, as he liked to put it, and they were very equivalent to Humvees. Curves. And one of them overturned, and I was squad leading that day. And granted, it's like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, so I'm not operating with the normal hamster. I'm running on a gerbil that's been cracked down on cocaine for 4 days. So we're worrying about trying to, rescue this resource. We don't want to deny it. It's, our only means of transportation outside of the one I'm driving. And I don't know what struck me, but had a flash of fuck it, let's find out. And I started singing a song and didn't realize it until about 2 minutes into the song, going, we're about to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Who wants to do some sketchy shit with your squad leader, But I hear everybody else in the vehicle going, oh, fuck, we're going to die. And I'm just giggling, going, oh, yeah, no, we're going to be fine. Well, long story short, we overturned and rescued the vehicle, but our vehicle ended up about half a click that way in lower atmosphere. with the dictator in the back seat losing his mind of enjoyment.
That's fucking awesome. You know what? What's a question that I feel like I never really asked a lot of people, or maybe I did, not just blanking on it, but why did you like originally join fucking this?
The
Like Arma.
91st or Gark?
Just in general, like I know you do a lot of you do life outside of this obviously. But,
Oh yeah,
like
for sure.
you come home or you're at home and you want to play a video game. Why did you choose to join our group? Or not the 91st in general, but just like Star
Well,
Wars groups in general. I mean, I know you mentioned that.
well, like I
It's a hard
said,
question, yeah.
like I said, as I got into this because of a friend of mine who's known me for a while through some other friends networking. You know how it is,
Mm-hmm.
a friend of a friend of a friend, and then you guys hit it off. But um, I got into Arma originally due to, oddly enough, Russian Badger. I don't know if anybody's familiar with him. He's got a Twitch. I think he's live every like Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. I honestly don't know. He used to play a lot of Arma, a lot of DayZ. He's got some bullshittery videos, does some anti-Stasi videos, and they're really funny. And I really got into like DayZ. I really enjoyed DayZ for the survival. It was really cool at the time. Um, and like I always played it on like a friend's PC because I'd never had my own PC. So when I finally got my own computer, I was like, you know what? The very first game I'm going to download um, it has to be Arma. I have to get Arma. Aside from like Counter Strike and
Right, like
all
the
the other,
big like
Counter
like
Strike
OG
Global
PC
Offensive.
games, yeah.
Yeah, like Quake, Counter Strike, all the other stuff. Um, but I got into that, started playing DayZ. DayZ quit working, so I started going into kind of like base Arma, and I started diving into the abyss that is the workshop. Excuse me. But I started seeing a lot of things for Star Wars. I started seeing just a lot of content, from like Imperial era to like Sith and Jedi models to maps like Endor and Hoth and Death Star. And I'm geeking out because I grew up with Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I love science fantasy, science fiction. I love, Star Trek and all this. Like, I love science fiction, and Star Wars is like that golden example of what science fiction could be. And I just started geeking out. Um, and then, fast forward a couple hundred hours into base Arma and various communities. Um, my buddy comes in and he goes, "Hey, I'm part of the 212th. Um, they're a mill sim. They're a star sim, Star Wars mill sim.
Mm-hmm.
And you talk about how you like Star Wars and how Clone Wars is, easily like this, like it very comparable to like the Imperial era, and there's a lot of stuff that's just untapped, blah 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 blah. Don't want to get lost on a tangent here, but more or less, he's just like, "Hey, you should come check this out." I was like, I've been into mill sims are super serious, and it's all like the yes sir, no sir chain of command bullshit. And I went through a lot of those, like very cringe, like you have to make sure you're like we're talking about like we're familiar with Ace, right? Like the Ace menu, Ace interaction, all this other stuff, and you actually had to check your gear. And not just your gear. Like when I say gear, I mean like your uniform. You have to make sure you have the correct patch on. You have to make sure that you shined your boots, and it was just outlandish shit like that. If you're a nut hair out of formation, then you're going to get in trouble. You're going to be banned from the unit for X amount of time, and that's like your jail time in the unit. Blah 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 blah. And it's just I was like, dude, I can't do it. I've seen the YouTube videos. It's cringe. I can't do it. I just whatever. But after a lot of back and forth, I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll try it just for my love of Star Wars. And if it turns out to be too cringe, then I'm out. Well, I join the 212th. I have fun. I see all the blasters. I see all the explosions and the rockets and the AATs, the Banthas, the Lats, and I just start geeking out and having a freaking fit. And I'm just like, you know what? This is where I'm going to spend my time. This is what I'm going to do. This be it. Arma above. Like I went from playing games like Call of Duty, Battlefield 4. I went to like Skyrim to Dante's Inferno to Dark Souls, the Bloodborne, all these vast different games. And I'm like, you know what? What am I going to do today? Maybe a little Portal, maybe a little Dante, maybe, kind of go in here, play some Ratchet and Clank. You know what I mean? Just like, but it went from I don't know what I'm going to play today to dude, I'm going to hook up with the boys. We're going to have some fun playing Arma. Right. And freaking arguably 2.5 years later, here I am. And I mean, dude, honestly, time well spent.
No, honestly.
I mean, dude, I just absolutely love Star Wars. I absolutely love video games and video game communities because they're arguably some of the best groups to be a part of. Yeah, you have the jokes of, well, you're a shut in. You don't have to, you don't have a life outside of it. But I mean, dude, coming from somebody who never did well in school socially to meeting all these people that don't live in my state or whatever, and then figuring out, years down the line when I'm a working man and, taxpayer and all this other fun shit. I figure out, oh shit, there's people in a Star Wars community might not be in the same unit, but they live just a couple cities away, and I'm going fucking bet.
Oh yeah, dude. So, well, like I already met 3 dudes that live in my state from the 91st,
right?
And it's like it's just crazy.
Like damn. Just the power of video games, the power of video games nowadays, especially with the internet. We go from ads about, here's a nostalgia trip for you. Freaking, commercials about you wouldn't download a car, so why would you download a movie? To, hey, dude, where do you live? X City. Cool, I'm in Y City. We should meet up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, dude. Well, like,
you guys meet freaking video games, bro.
I went down to Texas to fucking meet guys I played Xbox with, and I spent fucking it's just like I did the very thing that my parents warned me not to do when I was like 10.
Exactly.
And I was like 19. I got out of Fire Academy, bro, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking do this.
And, I mean, shit, man. Like I mean, you got out of the Fire Academy, man. I went to school. Here's a little bit about Polarbear for anybody interested. Any of my friends who might listen to this podcast. I went to school for 2 years to become a welder, and let me tell you, those summers were not fun. Oh my God, you want to talk about 100-degree heat, man. We were in, like, I learned everything from, like, TIG welding, MIG welding, stick welding, which is arc welding, to operating heavy machineries that you would have to have, like, 5+ years of certification and a freaking chiseled, gruff, white guy protagonist kind of look to do. Looking like freaking Eminem from 8 Mile. Like, just to go in and use some of these shops, man. And I loved it, but it was not the profession I wanted, because I'm like, dude, there's a lot of hazards that people don't know with welding as well, because welding, like, you can actually get something, I forget the name of it specifically, but it's very akin to miner's lung, and that is awful. Awful,
yeah, because you're breathing in that,
you're breathing in the slag, the wasted material that doesn't turn into a physical form, so it all evaporates, turns into dust, and it gets in your lungs, and it's basically the equivalent of having metal shavings in your lung fibers, and it tears you. Oh yeah, it's bad. Luckily, we have a lot of things nowadays to keep that, to a very, very minor thing.
Yeah.
But I'm like, dude, damn. So I decided, I didn't want to get into that. And even though I spent 2 years in it, I wanted to be like an underwater diver, like a dive welder, right? Like go in, work on the bottoms of ships and pipes. But ultimately, I just decided, that's not the life I want to live. I want to be, moderately, moderately wealthy, but I also want to have a social life. You know what I mean?
Right.
I want to play. I want to play my games. I love video games. I want to play video games. I want to play with my boys. I want to be able to, socialize, if not in person, then at least online. Like I'm a very social person. So I wanted to have that. So I went from that to customer service to warehouse work. And now, I know I'm very public about this, but a lot of people surprisingly still don't know, is I drive for a company, like city transit, public transit. Like I drive 40-foot long, 11-foot tall, 10.5-foot wide freaking billboards with 6 damn wheels and 70 plus people capacities through narrow ass ghetto streets, like including downtown. So I drive these behemoth things just so I can come home and go pew pew. Clanker goes spurk.
Yeah, it's funny, dude. Well, like I feel like a lot of us do that because like you have guys in like the military. And you have guys, that work in so many different jobs and they do these crazy, that just seem like really weird things, and they come home to play a Star Wars game. Where like,
they come home to nerd out for a couple hours, you know what I mean? By the way, I'm going to turn a fan on. It's getting hot in my office. If you hear it, let me know.
I think, okay. But yeah, it's like that friendship. That really like brings people together. Because I couldn't make it today because God bless my fucking heart. I've been working on my car for the past 4 days because I have a leak. I had a leak somewhere, which was my transmission. Didn't start it out not knowing it was my transmission though. It was just black dripping fluid from the bottom of my car. So I was like, I'm just gonna start taking shit apart.
Yeah, we need to figure that out.
I just got time, It could be,
if it was clear, it'd probably be water out of a radiator, which that's probably,
right.
That's pretty bad. I'm not a car mechanic by any nature, but when you start seeing black fluid come out of the bottom of your car, you're like, okay, that's not exactly, condensation from my AC. I better do something about that.
Well, and thankfully, it's not even my car anymore. I was able to get a newer Fusion. From 2019, but I have an old G6 that I just kind of keep up on for some reason.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna give it to my cousin, but even in that aspect, I don't want to give him a fucked up car. You know what I mean? Give him a car that's gonna die in
Yeah, you don't want to be that guy. It's I'm going to give you this nice looking car, and then 6 months later, he's calling you, going, "What the fuck you do?"
Right? Why is it leaking from 7 different places? And
it's hey, here's a brand new 2021 Charger. Sure would be a shame if the crackhead next door took my alternator.
Seriously, so
and you're wondering, dude, what? Why?
It's always been a project and in interest of mine because I've always been someone who's very I'm going to do this. I know that I could pay a mechanic, and, I think the only time I've ever taken my car into a shop was to, get the tires changed because I'm not buying a fucking machine to change tires on a rim.
Right.
But,
don't get me wrong, I'm on the opposite spectrum here. I'm budgeting to where when I get some of my debt paid off, I'm going to be looking at AAA because Sorry, dude. Coming from a mechanical family, none of that shit stuck with me.
Oh, dude, you know what's crazy though is I
AAA.
hate talking about cars. I don't think cars are interesting, nor do I think like mechanics. Like none of that stuff actually is interesting.
Right.
I don't know the names of anything. Like I have like a bunch of tools, and if you told me what it is, I'd be like, okay. I just know that that's the tool that I need to use.
Yes.
To do the
I know
job.
this one's the clicky. That
Like
one's the more
I got a
stabby,
hammer and a yeah, like, and I know like you're like, yeah, give me like a 3/4 socket. I don't know what that fucking means. I'm gonna give you the socket that looks like it fits.
Socket
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep trying them until it fucking works.
Yeah. Oh, which by the way, you don't have to. This is just something interesting that I found out thanks TikTok. But since you're like me and you don't know the name of fucking anything, for like if you're trying to put a screw on or socket or whatever, you can take your thumb and hold it over the area that you're working on or the thing that needs, like that you have to put the thing on, and take the imprint on your thumb and match it up to whatever screw, bolt, or socket you need to use. And I'm just like,
really?
I've watched mechanics. Yes, I've watched mechanics who've been in the trade 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 plus years look at that 5-second video and throw their toolbox because they never thought to do it.
No, that's crazy, dude. I didn't either. Like, dude, yeah, the work that I had to do is annoying because, like, I don't really know anything, so I'm kind of like going in blind. Thankfully, some people might say it's stupid, but like, I'll die on this hill of the fact that like, I have access to any information a mechanic would have. He might be able to call upon it. He might be able to call upon it like in a moment's notice and kind of understand things better. But like, if you ask me how to change oil, I could find out how to tell you how to change oil in no time at all. My dog.
I don't know, but hey, give me a few minutes. I'm gonna go find out.
And I'll find out. And it's like, so when it was like leaking brown fluid, like you can look up your car, you can find videos, you can find people who will literally tell you about that entire side of the car. And like, you know what I mean? And then just garnish information from that. And it's like such a wonderful thing. We live in a time where like, I don't have to just know things.
Yeah.
I could just call upon it because I have a fucking cell phone.
Yeah,
a magic
we don't have to
black
be like
cube that just plays videos for me.
Yeah. Like we don't have to be like the dude from well, I want to say Tyrion Lannister. I don't even freaking know. I've never watched the show, but like from Game of Thrones is like, we don't just drink and know things. That's not my job. I'm here to make people giggle and possibly shit themselves, and then I'm gonna go to sleep.
Seriously. Seriously. Well, like
so I'm gonna go drive a bus real quick, try not to hit anybody, then I'm gonna come home and meet with the boys.
Yeah, seriously. And like, I get why it's good to know that stuff, because like for me, I like guns. I like, so I know the intricacies of that. But it's like when it comes to cars, I get the like understanding of why it would be honestly better to know that, because like there's a lot of things you can do as far as like watching videos about guns that explains how to do things, like cleaning the gun, for instance. You have like an AR platform, you clean the gun. You probably watch a video. Hey, come up here. You probably watch a video of how to clean the gun, but like, maybe there's just little tricks and stuff like what you just told me that like you would never really know.
Like, right, freaking TikTok, YouTube, that one dude on YouTube that's like, I know every pin, inch, and nut hair on this pistol, where it goes, what it does, and what the name is. But, excuse me, but that's not going to be the guy I go to. I'm going to go to, some dude who might know half the parts in the gun, but he can fix it any which way to Mars. It's like,
yeah,
I like you. Like I can watch like a 20-minute video on the history of this gun and maybe try to figure it out, or I'm gonna go watch a 2-minute video where this dude's like, all right, so here's how you do it. And there you go.
Yeah, seriously.
Just do that like 5 or 6 times and you're good to go.
Well, dude, and like the reason I got into kind of like doing this stuff for the car was like, I literally sat there and I was like, dude, I built my PC with my hands.
Oh
Without
my God.
without
So you
looking
went
at
from,
directions.
oh my God, guys! If I could build a computer, I can build a car.
I fucking can. You know what? Goddamn it, I have been. Okay, because I fucking did. I got it fixed. I can put a machine that literally makes if you brought somebody back in time and showed them this machine, they would think that I'm fucking a wizard. But yeah,
I mean, forward in time, but yeah, it's like what did you do? Well, I took like 5 pounds of components and gave it life.
I took rock, water, trees, and air, and now I'm playing as Nightwing beating people. I can fucking fix an oil leak in my car. You know, like, god damn it.
Like, bro, if I can troubleshoot Microsoft and figure out how to draw on Google, I'm pretty sure I could go and do this simple, mundane thing.
Yeah, like, I'm pretty sure I can screw bolts in and find something that doesn't look like it should be there. Like, please.
Right.
Like,
meanwhile, you know, like, I'm over here on the opposite spectrum where I'm like, I have mechanical knowledge, but it mostly involves things that go, you know, boom. Because it's, you know, it's like, I mean, dude, that's where I thought about going in the military when I was in high school. Because, you know, my dad was always the, you know, hey, you should go into the Navy. You should go into the Navy or the Army. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, you know, in my time in school, you know, I was kicked out. Well, I shouldn't say kicked out, but denied access to taking chemistry class because people who know me now know why. But you know, I'm just saying, like, why do you want to take chemistry? And then just bomb making,
the explosive expert,
right? And then I look at a freaking Army recruiter, and he's like, "What, you know, what would you want to do in the Army?" I said, I heard something called an EOD specialist, and that sounds right for me. And then they look at each other, look back at me, look back at each other, and they're like, where did you hear that from? Somebody whose job never became somebody else's. And they just start laughing.
You know, yeah, I feel like...
joke of an EOD.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go for it.
No,
you. Say, no, the whole, you know, for people who don't know military jokes or military, you know, like lingo and stuff, like an EOD specialist, just using GARC terms would be like your combat engineer, your demo, right? So your EOD specialist would be the dude that goes and either sets or more than likely is the dude disarming explosives, you know, anything from car bombs to IEDs to landmines, stuff like that. And the popular joke in that field is, well, the jokes is that, one, they're suicidal motherfuckers that just don't give a shit anymore, and two, the best description of their job is, well, either I'm right or it's not going to be my problem anymore.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that too. One of my recruiter was also my father's friend, and he's an EOD.
Oh.
And dude, honestly, the guys that I've met that are EOD are probably some of the most nonchalant purple. Dude, they don't give a fuck about anything though. Like, I love them for it.
It's like those are like some of the best people to talk to too, because they're not gonna bullshit you.
Honestly, dude, it's great.
They're gonna tell you some blunt shit. You're gonna be standing in disbelief that you actually got an answer, and they're gonna be standing there looking at you like, you asked. So I was like, dude, apparently I have the spirit of an EOD.
Apparently you need some fucking explosives, bro.
I mean, dude, like, just like I've got a sister, man. I love her to death. She is like almost half my damn age, and she will come in and talk to me about some stuff, and I will just look at her, pause, and then just be like, fuck it, and then tell her exactly what she wanted to know, and then she'll sit there and like do a double take, like, really? And I'm like, what were you expecting?
Yeah, honestly.
Not that, apparently.
Dude.
You know, like, just being that guy that your coworkers are like, if you want to know it, if you want to know something, honestly, go talk to that guy.
Right,
It's
you
like,
need
why?
the
Because
truth
he doesn't
up
give a
front.
shit and he's just gonna lay it out. It's like he does not have time to bullshit you.
Seriously.
You know, it's like just. I mean, dude, it's I'm great at family gatherings.
No, I
so
mean,
what have you been up to? Fucking nothing.
Yeah, seriously. You know, even on that point too, like I saw a while ago you went to the Renaissance Festival.
Oh yes, that was fun. That was very very fun. Um, so I live in Ohio, and our Renaissance Festival, the Ohio Renaissance Festival down in Waynesville, Ohio, is I think at one point, I don't know if it still is, but at one point, prior to COVID, I'm allowed to say that on the podcast, right? Like it's not going to be a YouTube thing. It's not going to get flagged. Okay, cool. But prior to COVID, was one of the top 10 in the country. Whereas, like ones down in Texas or California are like top 3. You know what I mean? I'm like, that's kind of cool. So I went down with my family, and this is like the first time I actually got to go and bring my entire household. Like I got like my mom, my dad, my sister, got my grandmother there, got my uncle, and one of my buddies who's in the 212. He ended up coming with us, and we met like half a dozen of his friends. So big turnout. And I was supposed to be going as a plague doctor. I was very excited because I love plague doctors. I love Renaissance. I love medieval shit. Science, fantasy, and medieval shit. I mean, dude, that's like my bread and butter. Like, I love this. But it didn't work out as well as I thought it would. My sister actually handmade me a cloak, like a trench coat, but it was her first time ever trying to do that. And so she was following patterns and all this other stuff, and then she forgot, oh shit, my brother's fucking huge, and he doesn't abide by patterns. Like, so, I'm every bit of like freaking 6'2". I look like I'm 270, but I'm every bit of about 340 at 6'2". I'm a big dude.
He's a big boy.
I'm a dense motherfucker. Like, I don't look that fat, but I'm a dense dude. But so she tried to make the sleeves and the shoulders, and it did not turn out the way she wanted it to do. So,
but you wore it.
But I wore it. I'm like, you know what? You have spent literally 2 weeks making this. You're crying about it. You're stressing. I'm like, I'm gonna wear this. Like, again, no shit, nonchalant. Like, I don't know why you're crying about it. Like, I'm gonna wear it. Why? I'm like, well, first off, you spent $150 over here at like the fabric store. It's not like I'm gonna not wear this,
right?
And you spent 2 weeks of effort while being in high school marching band. You had very little time to work on this. You altered one of your dresses. I'm gonna wear it. We're gonna figure it out. Well, about an hour in, I was like, it's going to be like 77 degrees. It'll taper off down to like 48 by the evening. I'll wear it. Shouldn't be any issues. Well, it's hotter than a motherfucker. And I went, shit. Well, whenever I go, they have these marvelous stands. Freaking like, yeah, there's a couple, sketchy vendors. It's like, oh, it's handmade, but it says bought in China.
Yeah.
But, or made in China. But, a lot of the places that we go, yes, it's expensive, but it is literally one person touching your product, making that product from years of experience. And I ended up buying a cloak that was actually custom tailored and everything, freaking gold satin lining. Oh my God, it's beautiful. I love it. and I ended up getting a vest to go with it, which was I want to say like polyester cotton blend, and it had metal stitching engravements and everything. Like, oh my god, like this, like dude, I love this vest. Holy shit.
I fucking love
And
the Renaissance Festival. You know, I've been waiting till we actually got here to tell you this, but I live in Michigan. I live in Lansing.
oh shit,
So I've been down to that Renaissance Festival you're
hell
talking
yeah,
about.
dude, it's so much fun, isn't it?
It's fucking well. Like I've been to the one up here too. I've been to anyone in the like couple state areas.
Midwest.
Yeah,
Uh,
I fucking love the Renaissance Festival.
Dude, it's so much fun. The people watching, the shops, the artisans, the performers. I mean, I don't know what weekend you came down on, but for anybody who doesn't know and is interested, the Ohio Renaissance Fair is it goes like all fall. Like it goes from the first weekend of September to the weekend of Halloween. Like it goes
Right.
like the last week of October. And every single weekend is something different. Every single weekend is a different like theme. There's everything from like time travelers weekend to the Feast of Fools to the barbarian or pirates invasions to like the they had one where it was nothing but jesters and fools, and oh my god, it was so much fun. There, oh dude, yes, that this would actually be pretty cool. I am in no way endorsed by this guy. He is a wonderful dude. But there is a person, he is a comedian and he is an author. He goes there every few years, and his name at the fair is Christoph the Insulter. This dude is hysterical. He would do these shows. You would have to buy your way into the show. You can bring alcohol. It's 18 plus. And he even tells people right out of the gate, like, if you're offended by anything, fucking good, get out. Because you're not going to like it. He's like, I will give you your money back. He's like, I'm just telling you right now, you're going to hate me. And I love it. I was like, immediately just drawn to this dude.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, oh, dude, you are my people. Like,
Absolutely. I would have been like, oh, this is about to be the best show I'm about to see.
oh, dude, no, like oh my god, like he would do this thing where you would pay him, like he would go around the audience and he would tailor, like he writes his own jokes,
Right.
and they get progressively worse the more money you give him. And there was a guy, his name, by the way, is Christopher Buellman. He actually has a wonderful, wonderful book, a vampire book called The Lesser Dead on Audible. Please check him out. I promise you're going to love him. He is awesome.
I'm sure if you like YouTube him or something, you could fucking probably
Absolutely.
find a video. Yeah.
Absolutely. But this dude, oh my god, I have pictures with him. He's fantastic. We actually had somebody who dressed up as a like 17th, 18th century cardinal from like the Catholic Church. And he came in full red gown, pointy hat, freaking rosary beads, whole 9 yards, right? Like we thought it was a Spanish Inquisition. And he's like, if you guys want me to just lay into this dude, no hold barred, nothing. He's like, I will go into my deep dive material that nobody gets to hear. And he, like, dude, we raised up like $600 just for him to roast this motherfucker for 30 minutes.
That's
And
fucking awesome.
He went on for 35 minutes. I blew beer out of my nose. Oh, dude, it went from stereotypical Catholic Church to altar boys to religious jokes, all this other fun stuff. And I'm like, dude, I couldn't breathe. It was bad. Because I've seen the Hollywood roasts. I've seen the Comedy Central roasts of actors, and like, oh my god! But this dude, dude, I was dying. It does not take. It takes a lot to get me there, but it's like, oh my god, dude, I thought I had an ulcer. It was that bad.
Dude, I love that. I just love like that. I love the Renaissance Festival. I don't know like too many other states. I wish I could go down to like the South and
yes,
like the like West Coast and see all that stuff, because those, I mean, Renaissance festivals are just amazing, bro.
Dude, it's kind of like us if you think about it. It's kind of like Gark if you think about it. We go hard into like the lore and stuff, and just making it feel and look like a Star Wars game from something that's supposed to be out from, correct me if I'm wrong, 2011, 2013, freaking US versus sketchy Russian country here, to oh shit, we're on Mandalore shooting Mandalorians with 15As, and then here they are going, we have some PVC pipe, wood, iron, and a forge. We're going to make this village look like the 17th century. Like, we're doing this. Like, but no, dude, if you ever get the chance, I've never been myself, but dude, if you ever get the chance, please go to the one in Texas.
Absolutely.
Please go to the one in Texas, because they go hard, like to the point where, yeah, you can go to the one here in Ohio. They won't break character unless they have to, and then like they'll have fun with you. You go down there, dude, you fuck up in the festival, you're gonna end up in the stockades for a half hour. Like,
that's what's up.
Yes, like I don't know if they still do that after COVID, but like supposedly a buddy of mine who went down to visit some Floridas, or to visit some Floridas. Yeah, can you tell I've been drinking? Anyway, to visit some family down in, I want to say like Amarillo or Houston, so like Central Texas.
Yeah.
And they ended up going to the Renaissance Festival. Well, they didn't dress up, so that was already strike one in my book. And he had his phone out, and he wasn't really into the park like his wife was, and he ended up spilling somebody's beer. They obviously were very civil about it, but then the the court guard in the area seen that, took it upon himself, and about 15 minutes later, this dude is got his hands and head in the stocks, ass up, face forward, and there's a crowd throwing rotten veggies at him. This is terrible.
I love that.
And I'm just losing my shit. Like, dude, the queen of the park came out and like hit him with a freaking paddle. There's kids throwing tomatoes and corn at him. It just looked like so much fun. He said, "I'm not going to that one again." I said, "No, you are."
Hilarious. Seriously. But you know what? We're rounding out about an hour here, and so I think we're hitting our limit. So, Polar Bear, man, I appreciate you on here. I appreciate another beautiful episode down on the books. I appreciate you, man. Do you have any last famous words that you want to leave by?
Nothing that's not going to get me in trouble. But I do say, oh yeah, that'll be famous, all right.
Yeah, famous last fucking words. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, you want to say last words, dude? Oh, I've got a few, but no, we're going to stay away from that. If you like Star Wars, if you like Arma, come into Gark. We have, like, each unit is vastly different in the way that we handle things. There's rough seas, there's calm seas, there's more good people than bad, I assure you, if you're not in it and looking to get into it. But, I mean, dude, even some of the most sketchy people, hi! Waves at camera, are approachable.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to vibe with everybody, just like life. But join a C shop, go into a detachment, figure out what you want to do. But at the end of the day, regardless of how much time spent, regardless of how much effort, money, if you're donating, or time invested, just keep this in mind. We're a bunch of nerds coming together to play a game because we love the game and because we really, really love Star Wars.
Spoken. Preach it, man. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Later.